I never thought the first day in our dream home would end with someone in handcuffs right in front of my porch. But that's exactly what happened. And the craziest part, the woman who got arrested wasn't a stranger or a burglar. She was the president of our neighborhood HOA, the self-proclaimed queen of Willowbrook Estates, and apparently we'd committed the ultimate crime moving into our own house without her permission. I can still see that moment like it's burned into my memory. My wife Mia was standing beside me holding my hand, both of us smiling like idiots because we'd finally made it. We were homeowners. Then she appeared. Karen Peaton. Floral blazer, tight smile, arms crossed like a bouncer guarding the gates of heaven. She stood right in front of our door, chin lifted, and said, "No one moves into this neighborhood without my personal approval." At first I thought it was a joke. I even laughed, big mistake. Her face didn't move, not even a twitch. That's when I realized she was dead serious. I tried to stay calm. "Ma'am, I think there's been some confusion. We closed on this house last Friday. We're the owners now." Karen didn't even glance at the paperwork I held out. She just waved her hand like a queen dismissing a peasant. "I don't care what the bank told you. This is my neighborhood and I have procedures. You'll need to leave until you've completed the proper paperwork." Behind her, blinds shifted. Curtains moved. The entire block was watching. My excitement turned into that prickly feeling you get before a storm, humiliation mixed with disbelief. Then she said it again, louder this time, like she was performing for the crowd. "Remove your belongings immediately or I'll call the police for trespassing." That's when something in me snapped. I'd tried to be polite, tried to be understanding, but hearing the word trespassing on my own property was too much. I said, "You know what, Karen? That's a great idea. Let's call the police." And before she could react, I dialed 911 myself. Her face went pale. The color drained right out of her lipstick-red cheeks as I said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Hi, I need to report harassment and obstruction on private property. A woman is blocking my family from entering our legally owned home and threatening our movers." You could have heard a pin drop. Karen froze, clutching her phone like it was a weapon that had just backfired. Neighbors were whispering now. One guy even laughed quietly. 10 minutes later, a police cruiser rolled up. Out stepped two officers. One older woman named Officer Martinez, calm and steady, and a younger guy, Officer Johnson, who looked like he'd walked into a reality show. Martinez asked for an explanation. I handed her the deed, the closing papers, everything. Karen puffed out her chest, holding her HOA bylaws like a sacred text. Section 4, Subsection 2, Paragraph C. New residents must go through the approval process before occupancy. Officer Martinez read the page, blinked once, and said, "Ma'am, this doesn't give you any legal authority to stop homeowners from moving in. These cover landscaping and paint colors. That's it," Karen stammered. But I'm the HOA president. I have a responsibility to maintain standards." Martinez gave her that patient but done look. "You don't have the right to deny someone access to their own property. Step aside, please." Karen glared at me like I'd personally destroyed her empire. She muttered something about undesirable elements and connections in the city, but she stepped back. For a moment I thought it was over. Oh, how wrong I was. 20 minutes later, just as the movers were carrying in our couch, Karen came back. This time she had a measuring tape, a camera, and a clipboard. She started snapping pictures of the moving truck, muttering under her breath. I asked Karen, "What are you doing?" "I'm enforcing HOA parking regulations," she said, scribbling furiously. "Commercial vehicles can't park on residential streets for more than 30 minutes without a permit. You've been here for an hour. I'm calling a tow truck." I felt my patience physically leave my body. "Karen, the police just told you to leave us alone." "I'm not harassing you," she shot back. "I'm enforcing rules. Someone has to maintain order here." That was the moment I felt something I hadn't felt before: hopelessness. Not anger, not annoyance, but that deep, sinking feeling that maybe she was right. Maybe we had moved into the wrong place. I looked at Mia, who was trying to keep it together, and for the first time that day, I doubted myself. Maybe it was easier to just pack up and leave. Maybe it wasn't worth the fight. But then I saw the movers. Good guys working hard, looking at me like they were waiting for me to make the call. And I realized something. This was my home. I'd worked for it, sacrificed for it. I wasn't going to let someone with a clipboard and a superiority complex chase us out. So I took a deep breath and said, "You're right, Karen. Let's involve the authorities again." And for the second time that day, I dialed 911. When Officer Martinez showed up again, she looked tired. The kind of tired that says, "I can't believe I'm back here for this." She walked up calm as ever and asked what was going on. Karen jumped in first, waving her papers like a battle flag. "This truck is illegally parked. I have the authority to tow it." Martinez examined everything, the street signs, the curb, the truck's position, and then looked back at Karen. "Ma'am, this vehicle is parked legally. HOA rules don't override city laws. You have no authority to tow it." Karen's jaw clenched. "I don't care what you say. This is my neighborhood and I decide who gets to live here. These people are not welcome, and I'll do whatever it takes to get rid of them." The silence that followed was unreal. You could hear the sound of someone recording on their phone. Martinez sighed, took a step forward and said, "Ma'am, you are under arrest for harassment and obstruction of property rights." Karen's eyes widened like she'd just been told the world was ending. "You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president." "Being president doesn't put you above the law," Martinez said, pulling out the cuffs. As Karen sputtered and tried to protest, the officers guided her to the cruiser. The neighbors, oh, they were loving it. Phones out, whispers turning into laughter. Even the movers clapped quietly. Karen shouted one last time as they put her in the back seat, "This isn't over. You'll regret this." But the door slammed shut and that was that. The queen had fallen. I stood there half in shock, half relieved. Mia squeezed my hand and whispered, "Well, that was not in the homebuyer's guide." I laughed, but it was shaky. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving behind exhaustion and disbelief. Over the next few weeks, the fallout was glorious. Karen faced charges and fines that added up to over $3,000. But that wasn't even the best part. The HOA called for an emergency meeting. Apparently, I wasn't the only one she'd tormented. When the vote came to remove her, it was 87-3. She stormed out of the meeting yelling that the neighborhood would crumble without her, that property values would tank, that we were all ungrateful traitors. Security had to escort her out while she screamed about conspiracies. After she was gone, the new board rewrote the bylaws, stripped down the arbitrary rules, and sent out formal apologies to everyone she'd wronged. Turns out she'd fined people for everything from grass growing too high to leaving Halloween decorations up one day too long. One neighbor told me Karen once measured their Christmas lights with a ruler to make sure they weren't too bright for community standards. Unreal. Now sometimes I stand on my porch, the same one Karen once blocked, and I just breathe. The air feels lighter. The neighborhood feels normal. I still catch glimpses of her old house, sometimes sitting empty, the lawn overgrown, the mailbox stuffed with letters she'll never read. And I think about how fast power can disappear when it's built on fear. I'm not saying I'm proud of calling the cops twice in one day, but I am proud that I stood my ground, that I didn't let someone bully me out of what I'd earned. If there's one thing I learned from all of this, it's simple. The loudest person in the room isn't always the one in charge, and sometimes standing your ground is the only way to shut them up for good.